My son will not listen to this. I know that. I am placing it on record anyway. My name is Michael Malkin. Between 2001 and 2007, I structured and placed £84 billion in leveraged infrastructure bonds across 340 issuers. I did not invent leveraged infrastructure debt. I invented the market for it. From a single floor in Canary Wharf, I built Malkin Capital Partners into the dominant force in high-yield credit for mid-tier energy, telecoms, and logistics companies the institutional market had written off. My personal compensation in 2006 was £430 million. I built all of it for my son. His name is Daniel. He has not spoken to me in 11 years. On March 14, 2007, the Financial Conduct Authority opened an investigation into Malkin Capital Partners. The allegation was parking arrangements, the practice of temporarily placing bond positions with friendly funds to manipulate pricing and avoid disclosure thresholds. The allegation was correct. The primary cooperating witness was Raymond Cross, head of structured credit at Malkin Capital Partners. I had hired Raymond in 1997. I had mentored him, promoted him, made him wealthy. Raymond began cooperating with the FCA on September 14, 2006, 22 days after I declined his request for a senior partnership. Raymond wore a wire for 18 months. I did not know. Daniel did not know. No one knew until the subpoenas arrived. In 2011, I pleaded guilty to 2 counts of market manipulation. I paid £400 million in fines and disgorgement. I was barred from the securities industry for life. Daniel was named as a person of interest during the investigation. He was never charged. He left finance in 2012. He now runs a property management company in Bristol. He has not spoken to me since January 2013. Daniel joined the firm in 2004. He was 26, MBA from INSEAD, 3 years at Goldman in structured products. He did not need my name to get the job. He was better than most of the people I had hired. He was better than I was at his age. I told him that once. He did not believe me. The Malkin Annual Credit Conference was held every November at Canary Wharf. By 2005, it had become the primary deal-making venue for the European high-yield market. 2,000 attendees, 50 keynote speakers, 420 deals announced on the floor across 3 days. Daniel presented in the 2006 conference, Emerging Opportunities in Eastern European Logistics Infrastructure. He was nervous beforehand. He was brilliant on stage. I watched from the back of the room. I did not tell him I was there. In 2006, Raymond Cross requested a senior partnership. The request was made in writing, formal, detailed. He outlined his contributions to the firm, his deal flow, his client relationships, his mentorship of junior staff. The request was justified. I declined it. Raymond sent a second letter 3 weeks later. That letter was different. It asked why. It asked what he had done wrong. It asked what he needed to do to change my decision. I did not reply. 6 days later, Raymond contacted the FCA. After I pleaded guilty, Raymond sent a third letter. I have read that letter 40 times. I have never replied. The letter did not mention the partnership. It mentioned something that happened in 2003. Raymond had a daughter, Emily. She was 16 in 2003. She had been accepted to a summer program at Cambridge, economics and public policy. Raymond was proud of her. He talked about her constantly. He showed everyone photographs. Emily needed a reference letter from someone in finance, someone senior, someone credible. Raymond asked me to write it. I declined. Raymond asked why. I told him I did not write reference letters for family members of employees. I told him it was a policy. I told him it created conflicts. Raymond said it was not a conflict. He said it was a reference letter for a 16-year-old girl applying to a summer program. I said the policy was the policy. Emily did not get into the program. Raymond never mentioned it again. Not once. Not in 3 years. In the letter Raymond sent after the guilty plea, he wrote one sentence about 2003. He wrote, "You could have written the letter. It would have cost you nothing. You chose not to. I have thought about that choice every day since." Then he wrote, "I hope you think about it too." The last conversation I had with Daniel was in my solicitor's office in Holborn. The plea agreement had been finalized. The press releases had been drafted. Daniel sat across the table from me and asked one question. He said, "Did you know what you were doing?" I said, "Yes." He said, "The entire time?" I said, "Yes." He stood up. He walked to the door. He stopped. He did not turn around. He said, "I hope it was worth it." Then he left. I have not seen him since. I do not dispute what Raymond says happened in 2003. I made the decision I made. I would make it again. Daniel was in the office the day Raymond asked me. Raymond's office was next to mine. The walls were glass. Daniel was working late. He was at his desk, 30 feet away. He saw the conversation. He saw Raymond leave. He saw Raymond's face. Daniel never mentioned it. Not once. Not in 4 years. The Malkin Foundation was established in 2012. It funds cancer research and financial literacy programs in 6 schools in Tottenham and Peckham. The programs are designed to teach 15-year-olds how credit markets work, how leverage works, how decisions compound, how one decision can destroy everything you thought you were building. The foundation bears my name. Daniel's name appears nowhere. He did not want it there. I did not argue. I work out of a small office in Tottenham. No view, a desk, a phone. 16 filing cabinets containing grant applications and program evaluations and impact assessments. On the desk, there is a photograph of Daniel taken in 2004, the year he joined the firm. He is 26 in the photograph. He is smiling. I look at the photograph every morning when I arrive. I do not know if Daniel still smiles like that. I have not seen him in 11 years. People ask me why I keep working, why I do not retire, why I do not move somewhere warm and play golf and forget about Canary Wharf and leveraged infrastructure debt and everything that happened. I tell them I enjoy the work. That is not untrue. It is not the reason. The foundation has distributed £47 million across 9 years. The financial literacy programs have reached 8,200 students. 12 of those students now work in finance. One of them sent me a letter last year. She said the program changed her life. She said she understood how capital moved now. She said she understood how decisions mattered. I read the letter 3 times. I filed it. Daniel has never visited any of the programs. I do not expect him to. The foundation will distribute £6.2 million this year. The financial literacy programs will reach 1,400 students. There is a waiting list. I am 78 years old. I work 6 days a week. The photograph of Daniel is still on my desk. He is smiling in the photograph. I look at it every morning. I have thought about Raymond's letter every day since 2011. I have thought about Daniel watching through the glass in 2003. I have thought about what Daniel said in Holborn in 2013. I hope it was worth it. I did not build the foundation for the students. I did not build it for Tottenham or Peckham. I built it because there is a policy for sons too. I never told Daniel I watched his presentation. I never told him he was brilliant. I never told him I was proud. I told him once he was better than I was at his age. He did not believe me. I never said it again. The policy was the policy. I know he will not listen to this. I am placing it on record anyway. Because one day he might, or because I built something that requires no one to listen at all. I do not know which. I do not think I will. The board meeting was March 14, 2003. Conference Room B. Raymond presented the merger terms at 9:30. By 11:15 the vote was 8-1 in favour. I was the one. Daniel was in the observation room. He had requested to attend. Learning opportunity, he said. He was 26 years old. 3 years at the firm. Associate Director, Capital Markets. Raymond knew he was there. The merger would have eliminated 42 positions. The due diligence was incomplete. The client was a pharmaceutical company with 3 ongoing investigations. 2 regulatory, 1 criminal. The fees would have been substantial. Raymond said the investigations were immaterial. I said they were not. He said I was risk-averse. I said I was correct. The vote was taken. 8-1. Raymond looked at the observation window when the votes were counted. Daniel was watching. The meeting concluded at 11:45. I returned to my office. Daniel came to see me at 2:30. He closed the door. He said, "You embarrassed yourself in there." I said, "I voted according to my judgment." He said, "Your judgment is 20 years out of date." I did not reply. He said, "Raymond's right. You're risk-averse. The firm can't grow if every decision runs through your personal comfort level." I said, "The investigations are material." He said, "They're manageable." I said, "You have been here 3 years." He said, "Long enough to know when someone's blocking progress because they're afraid." I remember the way he stood. Wait forward. His mother used to stand that way when she was certain she was right. I said, "This conversation is over." He said, "You can't just shut me down because you don't like what I'm saying." I said, "I can when you are speaking from a position of inexperience and arrogance." He left without another word. The merger collapsed 4 months later. One of the investigations became a prosecution. The pharmaceutical company was convicted on 6 counts. Raymond never mentioned it. Daniel never apologized. But something changed after that. Not immediately. Gradually. Daniel stopped asking my opinion on deals. He stopped attending strategy meetings when I was leading them. He began lunching with Raymond twice a week. I noticed. I said nothing. The policy was already in place by then. It had been in place since Daniel was 23, since his first week at the firm. Raymond and I had agreed it the previous year. We called it professional neutrality. It meant Daniel would receive no preferential treatment, no special assignments, no proximity advantage, no perception of favoritism. He would succeed or fail entirely on merit. Raymond said it was the only way to protect him from accusations of nepotism. I agreed. I thought I was protecting him. But the policy became something else. It became distance. It became silence. When Daniel closed a difficult deal in 2004, I congratulated him in writing. Formal memo. Standard language. Raymond sent champagne to his flat. When Daniel made director in 2006, I shook his hand in the corridor. I said, "Well done." Raymond took him to dinner at the Ivy, invited 12 senior partners. I was not there. I was in the office. I was always in the office. The presentation was November 2008. Client pitch for a European infrastructure fund. Daniel led the team. 6 weeks of preparation. 83-page deck. Financial models built from first principles. I watched from the back of the room. He did not know I was there. He spoke for 40 minutes without notes. He answered questions for 20 more. He was brilliant, precise, confident, better than I had been at his age, better than I had ever been. The client signed the following week. Largest fund in the firm's history. I went to Daniel's office that afternoon. I said I attended the presentation. He looked up from his desk. He said, "Did you?" I said, "You were exceptional." He said, "Thank you." He returned to his papers. I stood in the doorway. I said, "You are better than I was at your age." He did not look up. He said, "I'd have to be, wouldn't I?" I did not understand what he meant, or I did not want to. Raymond's letter arrived March 2011. Handwritten. Delivered to my home. It was 3 pages long. The first page was pleasantries. Retirement plans, shared history, mutual respect. The second page was business. Succession planning, partnership restructuring, generational transition. The third page was Daniel. Raymond wrote, "I have never told you this because our agreement prevented it, but you should know. Daniel came to me in his 2nd year and asked why you would not mentor him. He said you were colder to him than to any other associate. He said he did not understand what he had done wrong. I explained the policy. I told him you were protecting him. He did not believe me. He said it felt like punishment. He said it felt like you were ashamed of him." I sat in my study for 3 hours after I read it. I did not move. I did not call Raymond. I did not call Daniel. I understood then what I had done. Not the policy itself. The policy was reasonable. The execution was reasonable, but I had used the policy as insulation, as permission. I had treated distance as professionalism when it was only fear. Fear of appearing soft. Fear of compromising his credibility. Fear of repeating my father's mistakes. My father gave me everything and nothing. Capital, contacts, access, but no respect. Every door I walked through had his name above it. Every client I closed had known him first. I was 40 before anyone believed I had earned my position. I swore Daniel would not carry that. I swore he would stand on his own. But I never told him why. I never told him what I was protecting him from. I never told him anything. Holborn was June 2013. I requested the meeting. Daniel chose the location. Small cafe, Clerkenwell Road. He was already seated when I arrived. I said, "Thank you for coming." He said, "What is this about?" I said, "I wanted to speak with you outside the office." He said, "All right." I had prepared remarks. 3 pages. Typed. In my jacket pocket. I did not use them. I said, "I received a letter from Raymond 2 years ago." He said nothing. I said, "It concerned our working relationship. He indicated that my approach may have been misinterpreted." Daniel looked at me. He said, "Misinterpreted." I said, "The policy was designed to protect you." He said, "I know what it was designed to do." I said, "I do not think you do." He said, "Then tell me." I tried. I explained my father. I explained the nepotism concerns. I explained that every compliment I gave him in public would be dismissed as paternal bias. I explained that I wanted him to be taken seriously. I explained that I was proud of him. I said, "I have always been proud of you." He stared at me for a very long time. Then he said, "Do you know what I thought when I was 12 and you missed my school concert because of a client dinner?" I said, "No." He said, "I thought you didn't care. And do you know what I thought when I was 16 and you reviewed my exam results like a performance appraisal?" I said, "No." He said, "I thought I was a project. And do you know what I thought when I joined the firm and you treated me like a stranger?" I did not answer. He said, "I thought you were finally being honest." I said, "That is not true." He said, "It's true enough." I said, "I made mistakes. I'm trying to explain them." He said, "You're trying to justify them. There's a difference." He stood. I said, "Daniel, please sit down." He said, "I have a meeting at 3. I said, "Please." He remained standing. He said, "You want to know the worst part? It's not that you were distant. It's that you thought distance was the same as integrity. You built a career on precision, and you couldn't tell the difference between protecting me and abandoning me." He left 4 minutes later. I sat in the cafe for another hour. The prepared remarks were still in my pocket. I threw them away on Holborn Station. Daniel resigned 5 months later. He took a position in Geneva. We have not spoken since. I built the foundation in 2014. It was operational by 2016. Financial literacy for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. No connections, no proximity, no favoritism. Merit only. The policy I believed in. Applied to people who might actually benefit from it. I tell myself it is meaningful work. I tell myself 1,400 students is not nothing. I tell myself outcomes matter more than intentions. But I know why I built it. I built it because I could not fix what I had broken. I built it because there is no policy that repairs a sun.